So we've really tried to put in every single facility anybody would want in a building and not complain. Like, oh, why doesn't it have that?
Yeah.
It has everything. If you want a weight lift, if you want Pilates, if you want yoga, you want a trainer, everything's here. There's lots of visitor parking. There's lots of parking available for sale. We're not going to charge a lot for the parking. I think we're going to be very reasonable there. I don't see anything with this building that doesn't make it great. And so we have some great projects coming, but I think it's one of the best ones we've got.
Today I'm here with my guest Brad Lamb, who is the founder of Lamb Development Corp, who has built over 3,500 units and has greatly shaped the Toronto skyline with iconic towers such as Theatre Park, Harlow, Park Lofts, King Charlotte, just to name a few. Brad, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thank you.
Is there anything you would like to add?
I think you did admirably.
Okay, great. Now let's move on to the exciting part. You have a new project coming up called Reine in Streetsville. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? First, why did you choose Streetsville as a location?
Well, so years ago, the plaza that's there was brought to me, and I looked at it, I'm like, wow, this is it was a great buy and huge piece of land, 2.2 acres. And like right on the cusp, it's in Streetsville, but the historic part of Streetsville is not where it is. It's like a 5-minute walk to that, right? And the thing is, like, I grew up in Oakville for the latter part of my university years, and what was so great about Oakville is like you felt like you're living in a small town, but you're in, like, it's a modern city around it, right? And you're so close to Toronto. And what's great about Streetsville is, and I think once people move there, they never move. It just feels like you're in a small community where you know everybody and it feels very safe. Like normally when we sell buildings, we get a lot of investors are the ones that buy them up quick. But we've had hundreds of people from the neighborhood, and I haven't had that in years, reach out and say, oh, I want to buy a 2-bedroom, I want my... One lady has 3 sons, and they all want to buy a 1-bedroom and den. In the building, and all live in the same building because she lives nearby. And I think that's great. So I'm excited about that prospect of building in the village. It's called the village in the city. We struggled with this building. There was a councillor there who I didn't get along with. I've been trying to develop this for 8 years. And I had a different architect on it, and I love it. It's really one of our nicest buildings. Like the ground floor patio units have 12-foot ceilings. 12,
oh, wow.
Right? And they all have huge patios, and the back of the building, between it and the houses is a fence. We have it's almost 20,000 square foot park, like at the ground floor. And it's going to be well priced. It's going to be priced cheaper than M-City, comparatively to one of the crap infill buildings, that fly up in Mississauga. It'll be comparably priced to those, but so much nicer, so much better for lifestyle.
Since there's a lack of a new condo building built in Streetsville, what's the advantage for investors to invest in Streetsville, first project?
So we've really tried to put in every single facility anybody would want in a building and not complain. Like, oh, why doesn't it have that? It has everything. If you want a weight lift, if you want Pilates, if you want yoga, you want a trainer, everything's here. There's lots of visitor parking. There's lots of parking available for sale. We're not going to charge a lot for the parking. I think we're going to be very reasonable there. I don't see anything with this building that doesn't make it great, and so we're leading. I think this is the best. We have some great projects coming, but I think it's one of the best ones we've got.
Most of the development, Mississauga is happening close to Square One. I think it has its own charm with the small town living.
It does.
And versus just Square One, as you mentioned, it's just a small building built around.
I mean, it's like that stuff you do in the country. It's like there's no place like this. There's not going to be another place like this. And I think it's very special. I think it's very, very unique. It's a fantastic location, fantastic place to be in. We're lucky to have this parcel to be able to offer people.
No, we're excited about the project too. To wrap things up, you started as an investor, now then a broker, but you mainly are an investor. So what advice would you have for people that are, sitting on the sideline playing the waiting game, or just trying to time the market?
I remember when I first was an investor when I was 20 or 21, And I was working in London. I was looking to Toronto, and I couldn't afford Toronto. And this is 1984. I was always so afraid Toronto would outpace me. I could never afford to get into Toronto. And that is what everyone's afraid of. It's like buying Apple at $50 when it was previously $40, and now it's $180. In the new office downstairs, we're putting up a very famous quote. It's by Mark Twain, great writer. And it says, buy land, they aren't making any more. So, you know, you can always make stock, you can always make another business, but there's only a certain amount of land on this planet, and we're not getting any more of it. And the next closest planet is Mars, and you can't walk around without a mask on, and you know. So I think that I would get in as soon as you can get in, and I think that, you know, John D. Rockefeller, who was probably the richest man to ever live in a modern world. I don't know if everybody knows who John D. Rockefeller is, but you should. He started Standard Oil. He said that 60% or 70%, I think the quote is, of all American millionaires made their money in real estate. So it's true today. There are tech billionaires, but it's a lot easier to do it in real estate. And it's not as hard as people think, but you gotta dive in. That's the key.